Hey guys, Chris here. So I'm doing a video about the Bambu Lab X1 Carbon. I have two of these printers and I only have done one or two videos about modifications, and it was really just the hot ends because I've actually tried a bunch of different stuff on these printers and they don't like it. They made these printers so good you can't really improve much on them. These printers are just work, and I've had these for a while now, and I've had them both. These have been my workhorse printers, my go-to printers. These are the ones that print all the time. I mean, I've been through a ton of filament on these. The only downside is that there's no heat in the chamber. So with certain filaments, it'll warp because it's not warm enough inside. So I saw a video on YouTube, which is what inspired me to do this, and they added a small heating element just like this one right here, which fits perfectly in here just the way you buy it. So it's a very mild modification. I mean, you do have to run the wire and then add something like this that's an exterior thermostat. So this has a small thermistor. It looks just like the ones you would put in a hot end, just a little bigger, and you plug the power into here, and then that goes to this, and then you can control temperature with this. So this is exactly the way the other guy did it, but it showed where he put this. It just didn't show like how he ran the wire and whatnot. So I haven't prepped for this at all. I'm gonna open up the printer right with you guys and let you guys see what I'm doing. So hopefully we can figure out together, because I do have another one to do. So I need to disconnect these cables, which I have these little printed things that make that a lot easier. I don't really take these out of here often. That's why I don't have a setup to do such. All right, that worked. And then this one has to come out. I got that on there. All right, that should be good. All right, we're free. Just the power cable. Okay. So you see I put this fan pad on. This is just an extra filter, and then I have the poop chute over there. But what I need to figure out is how can I run the wire out of there for the, I'm probably going to take this back panel off, which is a bunch of 2mm, it looks like. So let me get my 2mm titanium. If you guys have seen any of my videos doing modifications on, well, I do modifications on everything, but these have escaped modification because the fact that they were made so damn well. And anytime anybody asks me about the other 3D printers I've done reviews on, I tell them, listen, if you don't want to work on your printer, because I've had to clear clogged hot ends, I've had to change a couple extruders, I've had to do some stuff with these. I print with them a lot, but I've had to spend more time on any one of the other printers that I have than I have on both of these combined. Any one. I mean, not just like one that I built, like the Voron or the high temperature one. These are other store-bought, other than the Creality the X1C, because I very seldom use it. Not because it's a bad printer, I just didn't even really need to buy it, frankly. I probably shouldn't have. I have other, honestly, the Q1 Pro I use more, and it was around the same price. I think I got it for less, but it's just such a better printer with the heated chamber that, you know, is been the difference for this and the Bambu Lab, which is why I'm doing this modification, because that one sticking point, wow, that sucks. That one sticking point is why I would use the Bambu Lab over this on any normal occasion, but I don't want that to be the case. I'd like to have several, you know, printers with heated chambers that I could use, because I don't really use PLA at all, like almost really at all. I do sometimes PETG more than anything else, or ABS for like lower temperature materials, but I almost always use at least polycarbonate. That's one of my go-to filaments. Yes, confirm. No, stop that. Anyways, that's one of my go-to filaments. So the others are, you know, I mean, I've been experimenting with really high temperature stuff also. So now that I got my high temperature printer like completely up and running and really got all the kinks out of it, I'm starting to print with, you know, PPS and PEKK, the PEK carbon fiber. I recently just got some Altum 9085. So I'm looking forward to experimenting with that. Peak, I've had a roll of Peak. I haven't really done much with the Peak, but I've tested with it. The only thing with those filaments is that you got to have a separate nozzle, a separate hot end. You can't use, I mean, the extruder, you could use the same extruder, you just can't use the same hot end because they are so difficult to get all of it out. It's almost guaranteed to clog your nozzle with anything lower temperature the next time you use it. So you really just need to. I actually ended up getting 2 of the Goliath hot ends just so that I didn't have to deal with the clogs. And it was well worth it because the clogs are a nightmare with that stuff. They're really bad. Did I miss a screw or is there something else holding this? This printer I've never taken apart like really at all. I've never had to. There's really not been any major repairs to be done on it. I mean, everything I had to work on was pretty much inside the printer. Is that it? That should be it. It's coming loose. What the heck else is... Oh, this thing's holding it. All right. That's that. Oh, and there's screws under here. So you got a bunch of small 2mm M3. They're M3s. These are low profile, which I actually use quite a bit. I like those. These have to. Oh, these are the belt tensioners too, and those have to come out. What a son of a bitch! Let me see if I can do it without taking this whole back wall off, because I don't want to take those out. I don't want to loosen those. I don't want to change my belt tension. I think I just have to loosen them, it looks like, because these are just idler carriages that you loosen, and if I loosen these and slide them over, the little metal, you know, slit of the back panel that's sticking in there should probably, I just really don't want to change my belt tension. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. This is the only way I'm gonna get to do this. I don't think I need to take them completely off though. I just got to put it right back where it was. I guess I do have to take it out. Fuck. Well, let's see if that actually does change the belt tension. It's still not freaking moving. How is this? It's definitely fixed in there. Let me get a small flathead or pry tool or something to try to pop this out. It's probably too small. There we go, something like this. These tiny flatheads will just break when you're doing something like this. But this is nice and small. It's just not that small that it'll break. All right. Oh, yeah, it's coming. There we go. Nice and easy. All right. Let's see if I can get, there we go, without getting too rough with it. All right. And then there's one screw I missed on top of the switch and power terminal. All right. That's it. Nice. All right. And then I got my multiple splitter here for my AMS, and then for off the side spool, and then off of the heater when I have higher temperature stuff going into it. Okay. Oh yeah, there's an easy way to route the cable right there. I can go right in the back here, and then I can use a couple of cable clips on the back wall, and then I'll show you on the inside where it's going to go. I'm going to have to tip you down a little further. All right, let's see. So this is going to go the heater is right here, and is very conveniently sized, because I don't know if it's intentional or not, but this thing fits right here on the inside of the fan, on the inside of the bed turbo or auxiliary fan, whatever you want to call it. The only thing is, I think I'm going to remove the power switch and leave it in the on position, because against the wall it's going to keep hitting it, and or, you know, it'll be stuck, so it'll be, I don't know if it'll be stuck on or off. So what I'm going to have to do is find the screw holes here, which I don't really care. This is going to be facing the wall, and even if it wasn't, I don't care about how it looks anyways. I care about how it works. There should be another one over here somewhere. Maybe not. You know what, let's just peel it right off. So I got 2 of these. I'm going to do it again. I'm only going to do one on camera, but at least you guys will get the picture. Because this is essentially, I mean, the X1E is $2,500. And it does have a better filtration system. I have done a little bit of research on it. It's got a better filtration system in it, like substantially better. But those are modifications you can make as well, as far as the filtration, and even the fan for filtration is the recirculating fan. But I find that this actually prints better just leaving it the way it came. I've done the recirculating fan, all that, and it just prints better as it is. They just did it right. They really did do this right. I mean, look at DJI drones, and that's the same guys that the same engineers that started this company. So it makes sense. That's another thing that I haven't gotten around to making any videos about, but I have built my share of drones, and you know, I have probably 5 or 6 FPVs that I've built, and you know, that's among other things that I've obtained as hobbies that I haven't really had a chance to do videos about. Ham radios, I even got licensed in that, because to get to a certain point, to have a call sign and go on certain repeaters and whatnot, you have to have a call sign, and you need a license to get a call sign and a DMR ID. So I did all that. All right. So, and the guy actually did take this apart in the video. I mean, not that I needed him to be able to figure this out. It's relatively simple, but at least it did show that there was a safety in here, which I can see right here. It's right there. It's a thermal switch. So if it gets too hot, it'll shut right down. So I could probably just take the power switch right out and then just solder the wires together, so that anytime the power turns on from the thermistor, it'll just turn this on. But that thermistor can also just shut it off. So I don't know if I can turn that out. Let me just grab a pair of small pliers. Oh, okay. Well, that's one way to do it. That's actually, I didn't even need to open it, because now that button that was sticking out further that would hit the wall is no longer sticking out. So you can just turn it on and off like this. So the button is still there, but it won't protrude to where it'll hit the wall, which is the only concern I had. So I don't really care if it's on there or not. I'll probably never touch it, because this will have double-sided tape to the wall right there. Nice and easy way to fix it, and it won't be too permanent. It's not glued or screwed, not making any holes, not doing any damage. And also, if I need to take it back out, I can do that relatively easily, which, I mean, unless it breaks, I don't see another reason why. I got another one for the other printer, but I don't want to do any damage to these printers, because they actually work well. And now that I'm gonna, the other thing is that the X1E is insulated. That's one other noteworthy thing that I did see about it. But I mean, I could easily insulate this with some of that stuff that I used. If any of you guys that watch these 3D printer videos that I do compared to the other videos I do, have seen the ones with the high temperature printer that I built, I used automotive grade heat shield with fiberglass insulation on it, and it's relatively thin. It's probably a few millimeters thick. So it just has a thin sheet of fiberglass with adhesive on the back, and it's a metallic surface, and you just peel it back off. It's like a 3M thing, kind of like the bed heater type of adhesive. and you peel off the back, and it just sticks right on. And it's good up to 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit, which has proven to be, you know, I haven't tested it with that. Actually, no, I have. I did put a torch to it. I put a MAP gas torch to it. I didn't use acetylene, but I didn't use propane either. I don't even have a propane torch anymore. MAP gas is about the coldest I use with torches. Why doesn't that corner want to shut right? Son of a bitch. I think this is not the right Phillips for this. Which I'm really, after all these years, starting to really hate Phillips screws. They just are like made to be stripped. Oh, in fact, on that topic, while I'm doing this, I was told about a brand of screwdriver that literally makes screwdrivers that not to do that with Phillips screws. I have 2 sets of them, but they're not this small. They're like standard size. There are one smaller one in each set, but they have ridges in each of the 4 prongs that really make them stick well. I mean, they for standard size Phillips screws, there's been some screws that I didn't think I was going to get out without drilling it out, and I was able to get them with that because they were stripping. I haven't found bits like for a screw gun for an impact that made by the same company. I'll tell you the company name in just a minute because I don't have the screwdrivers that are on the other side of this room. So when I go over there to get the cable clips for this, I'll take a look at the name. I forget what the name is, but I'll let you know momentarily. I'm looking for the power cord for this, which I had over here somewhere. It was right here. What did I do with it? It's probably right in front of my face and I'm not seeing it. Sorry. Let me run and grab the cable clips that I know I'm going to need either way. So maybe if I get my mind off it for a second, I'll find it. Usually it works. So I'll be right back. But the name of the screwdrivers is Vessel, V-E-S-S-E-L. They're like monumental for if you're a do-it-yourself type of guy, or you know, I'm a contractor on top of doing the type of stuff that I do. So to me, they're like a game changer. So if you're anything like that, they'll totally be worth the time to look into and pick up a set. And they're not crazy expensive. They're like, I think they were like $60 a set. I got 2 sets, and one of them was $10 more than the other because they had a metal platform on the back that you could use if you needed to hit them with a hammer. So that I bought one of each. That's why I ended up with 2 sets. But after I got the first set, I said, you know what, screw it, let me get the other ones too. And they were that good, and I wanted to have 1 set in my shop and 1 set in my truck. Where is this godforsaken cable? Well, you know what I'm going to do? Just while the video's going, I'll do the other one later. I'll find the power cable for it. I'll take this out of the new one. Okay. There we go. Easy solution. All right. Now, there's like an opening. So let me show you the back real quick in case you want to do this. In the back, you guys can see right here. So there, you can see right through here where the lead screw is in the back. You can see, and while I have this open, I'm going to oil that. What I use for the lead screws and the linear rails and other printers is ISO 100. It's machining oil. This is what I use on my CNC machine, on my lathe. It's really good stuff, and I use it on the linear rods on this. I use them on the front, and everywhere else I use it frequently, but I don't get a chance to get this one. I get it, but I never get that linear rail. I don't think I've ever oiled that because you can't even get to it from the front. But I have done the lead screw from the front, but I'm going to get it good from the back again anyways. Or I just did, rather. Okay, so this is going to go through here, and I'm going to put these clips on it. I'm going to turn it back around, get this situated where it's going to stay permanently. Okay. Oh, I should have grabbed the double-sided tape. That's over there too. That's all right. Let's see. Can I move this bed? No. Oh yeah, I can, just very slowly. All right. Okay. So this cable is going to end up, it's right about where I need it now. Let's just pull a little bit more slack and plug this in. Okay. And this is going in the opposite direction now. Okay. Make sure we turn it on. All right. Now I'm going to move this wire out of my way, and I'm going to put it right up to the screw that holds the auxiliary fan. I'm going to put it right up butting against the underneath of that. So the screw that's on the right of the auxiliary fan, if you're facing it the way I am, it's on the right, on the inside towards the back. There's one screw there, and I think there's one on the bottom, two on the bottom. So the one on the right is going to be where this stops. It won't go any higher because it barely fits. Like, it fits perfectly in there. I mean, it's staying up on its own right now. I'm just putting double-sided tape for good measure, but it would probably stay there on its own. It fits that tightly. So I'm going to double-sided tape it, and then I'll clip the wire down. But I'm sorry, brain fart. The power button has to be turned on before you clip it, because you're not going to see it again, because you're going to take that double-sided tape and adhere it to the wall. So, I mean, you could take it back off, but it's just a nuisance. Just turn it on and use your thermostat to control it on and off, and then just turn it off manually when you don't want to use it. But it's very odd that it came out the exact size it needs to be right there. It's almost like they made it for that. Maybe they did, who knows? I mean, everybody and their mother's making something for Bambu lab printers, right? Let's see, I'm gonna probably just do 2 strips across the back. This is just like 3M automotive, like emblem double-sided tape. It's good stuff. This will sustain the heat and still adhere, even though this thing is just staying on by itself. So I'm just going to put 2 pieces across the back, and then I'll just pop this out, and I'll take this off and then put it back. I just got to get the back of this off. This is good tape. This stuff is a pain in the neck to get the backing off of. All right. .3M makes really good adhesive stuff. I mean, even I have some structural epoxy that is, like the 2-part epoxy that comes in the tube with its 2 separate chambers, and that stuff is really no joke. I mean, it's almost like literally like welded. It's pretty impressive how strong it is. I used it for a high pressure air gun barrel for the inside of it when I made a custom barrel, and it really it holds even for something that's under. I mean, these air guns are shooting, some are up to 1,500 feet per second with like pretty good sized projectiles. So, and it's holding no problem. It's incredible how strong some of their stuff is. All right, so I'm pushing it right up against that screw, and then I'm just pushing it into place, and the tape will take over from there. All right, and then I'm going to move the bed back up if I can. Yeah, just slowly. Because I want to see where I'm gonna put those clips to hold the cable down. And then I'll see how this works, and then potentially I might insulate it and see how much of an improvement I can get on the higher temperature material. I'm going to print something in it when I'm done with this. I'm going to probably just start with, I think I have some polycarbonate carbon fiber, regular polycarbonate, ABS glass fiber in 2 colors, ABS glass fiber. So I'll try with one of those. Okay, so I'm just going to clip these onto the wire. I'm going to clip one right to the side of it, pulling it to the back so it doesn't hit the bed. All right. Okay. And these have almost the same double-sided tape on them. I mean, they came that way. I didn't put it on, but it looks like, it looks like the same stuff. And this one doesn't want to stick, probably because I got it dirty before I put it on there. Son of a bitch. I might be putting double-sided tape on that one. That's all right. I'll just get a couple on there, and then I'll finish this up so you guys can see it work. But, I mean, I would do this and add another filter, or like better filter to the current filter, which I've already done. This has I printed an enclosure for the activated carbon and HEPA filter, and then I have several of them, so I can change them, and they all have separate carbon filters and carbon and HEPA filters in them already. So when it comes time to change it, I just swap it out, and then I can change the filter media in the one that I took out, and that's that. And it's not down for more than a couple minutes. All right. That's about it. I might put one in the back, and that should be it. I haven't even actually tested the heater. I probably should have done that, but we'll find out when it starts going. But I just wanted to see the wire routing, because that was the thing I was most concerned about. I'd like to cut the wire and stick it through one of these holes that's already here, and then have it come right out the bottom, which I very well may do. Or, in fact, I could just, no, because I need that to get power. But what I could do is I could get a plug for the other side of that and run that right into the power coming off the switch here. And then these have a plate terminal, and I have double plate terminals that would jump in the current one. So I could have both of them go into one. I wouldn't even have to cut the existing wire. I could just have it go into the plate terminal that's on the splitter. Which I'd have room to do them. Yeah, I could do that, but I'm probably not going to go that far. Because then I got to run 2 wires too. I'd have to have one coming in, one for that. Oh, and frankly, this has to be in here too, and I don't know why I'm not thinking of that. This one will be easy though. This is just going to go right on the back wall. So I'm just going to use one of these to just literally hold it, and then maybe one for a wire. That is a perfect little mount for it. So I'll just put this in through here and on the back wall. I'm going to put it as close to the bed as I can. But I don't need to, I can pull the wire in and out afterwards. I just want to get this relatively, where it's going to end up being, which is probably just going to be right through here, and just have a little bit of a gap in how much this closes, because I just don't want to, I don't want to go crazy, doing stuff to this printer that may or may not stay. I mean, once I use it and it works, and if I come back in to insulate it, at that time I'll go further. And I'll make it more permanent. Well, at that time I'll know that it's going to be permanent. All right, let's see. Let's go right under that existing clip. So there's small clips for the wires that are in here already. And if you just lift them up a little bit with a flathead, you can just guide the wire right in where the existing wires are. And then I'm going to just let it come out right here underneath that plate where it screws in. And that shouldn't make too much of an indent on the plate where it screws in at the bottom, because I'm not going to make a hole or any kind of modification to it until I know I'm going to keep this in here. But once I do know that I'm going to keep it in there, I'll figure out then how far I want to go, because I'll make it more permanent if it's going to be permanent. Okay. Now I'm going to turn this around. I'll put the panel back on. Actually, let me see where this thermostat is going to land. Probably need a little bit more slack. Yeah, that should be good. All right, I'll mount it after I close it back up. All right. That's that. The magnets that hold this thing on are pretty strong. Yeah, I'm just gonna let these come right down out the bottom so I can still screw everything back in. All right, let's start with these belt clips that I didn't really need to take off because I didn't take them off the other side and it was fine. But I also didn't see it move, so I don't know if these are just holding it when you adjust the tension, and these lock it in place probably. And then whatever screw is adjusting it is what's been holding it now, because I was paying attention to it. It definitely didn't move. All right, let's see. Let me put a couple in this side to try to pin that down. Turn the torque down on this. I don't want to strip any of these. Much better. All right, let's see if you're gonna give me a hard time or no. Not too bad. I'm gonna leave it right there. I don't want to go too tight with that being forced open. All right, let's see. It's pretty thin sheet metal, so it's not really gonna affect it too much. It'll just bend out where it needs to, and especially with the temperatures going up inside it, it'll just form right where it is. But I'll probably seal it back up when I insulate it, if I insulate it. See how this goes. This is a plastic screw. This has to go. There's got to be a different spot for this one. Oh, this is going to be for the poop chute. So if you just check the threads on these, you'll know which one that goes into plastic, because you'll notice there's like a machine screw thread, which is a more fine thread, and then the plastic self-tapping type is a more coarse thread. Which there should be one. Yeah, that's one more. That goes in the outlet, or the receptacle rather. Okay. All right, almost done. right, and then this thread lock one went right there on top. Okay. Oh shoot, I forgot my fan shroud here. It's actually magnetic as well, but oh shoot, you know what? The longer screw went right there. That's why I had that. I had the longer screw for this hole, because the original screw doesn't reach very well. I mean, as you can see, even though they're short, there's very little for it to pin down, but the little bit that there is doesn't get pinned down as well when you're using some of it for a modification. So I just put a longer screw. Okay, and then these other two longer, only partially tapped screws are for the this here for the AMS, for the sensor. And they're all 2mm, which at least that part's convenient, because that's all the low profile, the ultra low profile M3 screws with the bigger heads are 2mm, similar to the countersunk or the button head, versus the 2.5mm for the socket heads. Let's put this back, and then I'll mount the, well, I guess I can mount the thermistor first. Let's see, I'll just do it with it tipped back like this, so I can see where the wire would be best put. I think I'm going to just go right to the side of the bed right there. So I'll pull a little bit more slack in. Oh, it's actually kind of tight, maybe I won't. I'll just put it, yeah, I can still go to the side of the bed, just off to the side of down a little bit. Alright, let me get this adhesive tape off, cover off rather. Alright, there we go. That can stay right there. And then I'll put one more to hold the wire. Alright, yeah, so I'll put one more like right there. I actually have a spray that I do use when I do this, like on automotive, when I've had to put my emblems back on my vehicles. It's like a primer for adhesive, and it like universal adhesive primer, and it works especially good for double-sided tape. Like the double-sided tape, as soon as it touches, if you do that stuff exactly the way it says, like you let it dry and you do the whole process, it immediately adheres, like unbelievably strong. It's almost like an instant bond. Like that super glue it's fairly new that they make, that comes with that light, that there's a light that's like it's like the dentist light when you get a filling, which I actually have one of those because I have a dentist's office in the building here that I rent to, and he got one for me because I wanted to use it and I have the filling stuff too. I wanted to use it so that when I used epoxy, that stuff is so instant to hold whatever it is together while the epoxy dries, which it actually works very well for with the resin that they use for fillings, which I have, a whole bunch of, because that stuff he had a whole bunch of samples. He just gave me as much as I wanted. So I just didn't need more than I needed, but I just wanted it for that purpose. But I do a lot of stuff like that I can use that for. So, but I use that for that glue, and that instantaneous bond is what it's similar to. That's why I brought it up. So yeah, that one is not really sticking very well. The one that was not sticking well before. So, I'm not going to do it right now. I'll spare you guys the pain and suffering. Let's just get this thing back and let you see this work and see how it does. All right. This is going to go up here. That goes over there. Okay. And And let me just, the power can reach, so I'll plug that in right now. And then I just got to plug those AMS wires in. Okay, there we go. Just got to set up the poop chute and we're good. Okay, let's get these wires out of the way for this. And this tubing out of the way for this. Oh, well, that's the wrong way. What am I? Oh, it goes this way. Oh, well, I didn't think about that the right way of the poop chute, but that's all right. This will still go in this place. There we go. Where should I put that? Underneath here? I suppose it's going to go where it wants anyway. Okay, that's that. Now this I'm going to plug in right there. That's not going to work. Well, sorry buddy, I got to unplug you again for a second. You got to go over there. Ah, shit. That wise plug is a pain in my ass. You're right in my way no matter where I can put you. Well, you're going to get moved one more time. So you can fit next to that, but not next to this. Okay. There we go. There's our temperature. Well, let's get a pretty nice display on it. I should probably put it lower so I could see it if this freaking wise plug wasn't so damn big. Okay. I just got to get these wires to where I can situate this poop chute. All right. That's good enough for now. I say for now because God knows I'm going to modify it 100 times before I settle on a permanent solution. All right. But, okay, so it's in Celsius, which is good because everything else is too. Let's see, set. That's set temperature on 20. Let's see, I should be able to go, I would assume as high as I want to go. So if I go to, I would say like 60 or 70 is the most I would expect out of it. Let's do 65, 67. Let's see what it does. Well, it's on. And it's getting a little bit warm. Yeah, it's not a whole hell of a lot of heat. So I may have to modify the modification. I probably will modify the modification. If I'm being honest, I will probably put a bigger heating element in there and a bigger fan because the enclosure is perfect. The size is perfect. And I do like that it at least has a safety feature in there, but I'll probably just put a PTC heater out of one of the other fans that I have for the other enclosures on the other printers. Or, well, no, that ceramic heater would be too big for this. The small PTC heaters, the small cube ones that have the heating element and a fan, but they're actually probably sized pretty well for this, but the way it's set up, like this has got the fan on top of the heating element, so they both have some space. Those are like, the fan is in front of the heating element, so you need space behind it for air to circulate. It wouldn't work here. This is set up with like a centrifugal fan, which I can just put a 50-15 in its place, which will blow even harder, although this is a larger fan. It doesn't seem to be getting very hot. It doesn't seem to be getting hot at all. Oh, the heat's coming out the top. No wonder why. I'm feeling where it's sucking the air in. Hello. So I wonder if I just pop the cover off of where the fan is, maybe it'll get some more airflow and have more heat coming out, because that does get really hot. I was feeling the intake, not the output, and it didn't feel very hot. I wasn't very impressed, but that's why. So it may just need a new fan only. All right, well, that's open. Yeah, that did change the sound of it. Probably should get more output. Oh yeah, it's getting hot now. Yeah, that's got some heat coming out. So I just popped this little cover off from where the fan is. I mean, I'm not going to be sticking my hands in there, and nobody else is coming in my shop sticking their hands in the stuff. So I'm not really concerned about it. But if you have kids at home, I wouldn't be doing that. But in my situation, it's all right. Okay, so I'm going to put something in there to start printing. And it's up to 27.4 Celsius in there now. It was a different temperature before. On the screen it says 31 Celsius because their thermistor, I'm sure, is in a different location. I don't actually know where it is, and I didn't take care to look for it. I wasn't thinking about it while I was doing this. I do need a new nozzle wiper in here though. That one is pretty shot. Yeah, I have to unscrew that. Well, I'll just leave it for right now because I'm not going to take this thing apart again right now. But yeah, that thing's actually kicking. It's getting pretty warm. It's just not. I probably should put two of them right in this one. I bet one on each side would make a big difference. That may actually be what I have to do. These things were only 20 bucks. So, I mean, altogether, this is like a $45 upgrade per printer. So if you got two, it would be a $60 upgrade or $65 upgrade. And for 65 bucks, you just went from a $1,200 or $1,500 printer, depending if you got the AMS with it or not, to a $2,500 printer with the AMS. I mean, essentially, that, like I said, the fan, and then there is an Ethernet connection, which I'm not sure how, but I'm sure it's possible to add to this if you really wanted to go that far out of your way to figure out how, because it has Wi-Fi capability. I'm sure that it's a possibility, but the switch for the Ethernet is ridiculously easy. All you have to do is put a switch into one of the wires, and that's it. You're done. So that functionality, the filtration, and the heat, and the insulation, 4 things. So the insulation I'm gonna put in as well. So maybe that heat shielding is expensive for a 1 foot by 4 foot piece. It was like 40 bucks. For a 2 foot by 4 foot piece, it was like 60 something. So I got the 2x4s, and I got more than I needed because at the time I was getting whatever I needed because I really wanted to get that printer working, which finally it is, thank God. But finally it's done, thank God. But the it's kind of expensive. I did spend a few $100 on it. I ended up using the rest on my car and on my another printer. I did the QIDI Max 3. I put it inside there, and when I did my clutch, I put it up underneath the transmission to help with sound and heat, but mostly sound, and underneath the exhaust. It's a loud car. I have a Dodge Challenger that I also modified the hell out of. It's about 800 horsepower now. But naturally aspirated 800. No supercharger. All right, so I'm gonna try to print some higher temperature stuff. I'll do one more segment with the print going. I'm gonna replace that tool head cover on my Voron. You guys can probably see it now, no? Let me zoom in. So this is the Voron that I built. I did all the fun modifications to it. I did the NOMI, I did the CPAP, I did the what else? The nozzle camera, the What else did I do? What other complications? I did the CAN bus board, which I did not do on my high temperature printer. I ran everything directly to the board, which I much prefer over the CAN bus. CAN bus is not that hard to set up. It's really, if you can flash the MCU, you can do the CAN bus, because it's basically the same thing. I mean, you know, DFU mode, and it's the same damn thing. It's the same commands that you're putting in. It's essentially almost the same process. But either way, the CAN bus is working now, but I've had to change the wires several times. It's been a nuisance. Here, let me just bring it closer so I don't have to have you zoomed in like that, so I look like a dumbass. So the CAN bus board, the wires to it are very frail, the ones that they send with it. So I made my own wires. I used security wire, whereas I've shown it before on my other videos about the high temperature build, but it's shielded, double shielded. It's got like a wire shielding wrap, and it's also got like a thin layer of aluminum, you know, metallic wrap. So it's wrapped with that, with those two shields, and it's thick copper wire. It's stranded, but it's like thick strands. It's not like your typical thin wire. It's heavier gauge than this calls for. I think it's even heavier than the power side calls for, but the data definitely. And then right at the end, I had a leftover piece of the high temperature wire that comes on LDO super speed motors. So I used a section of that because I had one of them that needed a much shorter cable. I had that happen a couple of times. So I used a piece of the remainder of that to go right into the plug, because that wire, first of all, fits better in the Molex terminals, and that really was enough for me. And then I just soldered it to the heavier wire, which the heavier wire would have fit in the Molex connectors. It would have just been a lot harder to get it in there properly and actually grabbing the shielding. So I went so far as I ordered this rubber stuff that fits right in these 2020 extrusions, and that's another. It's like a gasket. So when the cover hits it, it forms a nice seal. I mean, the aesthetics, yeah, it's blue. It's a different shade of blue, which honestly, I did this prior to this in polycarbonate, PC Tough, and the PC Tough, actually, the hinges are still in PC Tough because it's much stronger than the ABS carbon fiber, which is what this is now. I just like the royal blue better, so that's why I changed all the superficial stuff. The hinges had to stay that, but the whole gantry is CNC aluminum. So they're all the parts, like even this mount, I sandblasted and painted like this wire shield, this wire guide, these pieces right here, the knobs, everything on it that was blue. I mean, that was red rather. Got sandblasted or die grinded with a wire wheel, and then fitted back to this. And then I had to use a bigger cable chain here. This is a 15 millimeter instead of 11 that it calls for, which it didn't even actually, they're not even sending cable chains with it anymore, just the one for the Z-axis, because I guess it's so common that people are doing umbilicals, which I would have done, but I had more than, it's not like just the CAN bus is coming over here. There's a lot of ports on the CAN bus, but there's not enough, not for me anyway. I mean, my part fan is not even being used over here. That's going to the board on the BL Touch, but I put 5160 drivers on every single stepper motor in here. Except the 2209 that's on that tool head board that goes for the extruder. And I ended up using the Orbiter extruder, which I like a lot. The Orbiter 2, it's a really good extruder, the LDO one. It's actually so good, I have another one as a backup, and I don't even know what project I'm going to use it on yet. I like that extruder. It can't be used in my high temperature one because you need water cooling at those temperatures. But anyways, it's a great extruder. But anyways, there's not enough ports on this board that I could just have the one wire, not even close, because there's a beacon bed scanner on there. That's a separate USB. The nozzle camera is another USB. The heavier wires that I ran for the CAN bus, just those two wires alone, I don't think would fit I'll show you the wire, because this is actually really good stuff if you guys have problems with your CAN bus wires, because I don't carry umbilical. I mean, I have strain relief for the wires on the CAN bus. It just still works itself loose over time. But this is the wire I'm talking about. And on the spool, this was a 250-foot spool. It's power limited circuit cable is what it's called. It's actually power limited circuit cable. But this is actually used for security wire for security systems. It's about what gauge is this? I want to say 24 or 20. No, it's probably 20 gauge, or maybe even. No, it's got to be 20. I don't think it's 18. Where's the gauge? FT4, CMG, FT4. Yeah, this is rated for outdoors. You can put this underground. CL3R, FPLR, CMR. If you guys are looking for this wire, oh, it's 18. It is 18. I thought it was 20. So this is actually pretty heavier gauge than I thought. I don't think any of the wires on the CAN bus actually call for that thick of a wire, but that wire is not going to break. I mean, it will maybe eventually, but it's going to take a hell of a lot more than any of those really thin stranded wires that they would send with it. So it's definitely advisable, because I had to fix that wire at least 3 times, and then I finally said screw it, because I didn't want to have to rip open all those cable chains and rerun that. But I had to do it because otherwise I was just going to keep having to, re-crimp pins and everything else, re-crimp fittings, whatever. But I didn't want to do that anymore, so I said screw it, let me do it once and do it right, and that's what I did. Which I should have done in the first place. Okay, I'm up to 33 up there, and the chamber temperature on here is up to 37. So it's heating it up relatively quick. I mean, for one small heater. If I put the other one in there, and I could do that relatively easily, I could just cut that wire that's going in and split it into 2 and have one going to each side, which honestly is looking like it's what I'm gonna do. I might just have to order 2 more heaters to do them both. And I already got the other thermostat. I might do that. If I do, I'll add it to this video, which I probably will end up adding it to this video, because I think I'm gonna definitely do it. I think I'm gonna print with it before I say that. But I'm gonna start a print right now, and I'll bring you guys back shortly and let you see how it's going. Talk to you soon. What's up, guys? So I'm a 36% of the way through a stealth burner head, a tool head cover. It's actually very dense infill and whatnot. I think I have it at 35% infill with 6 top and bottom layer. I make all the parts for the printer. It's pretty heavy, but it's up to 55 degrees in the chamber. So the QI-DI printer only goes to 60. I mean, and it'll probably get to 60. I don't recall exactly. The X-Max takes a while to heat up. The X-Max 3. The Q1 Pro is quicker. I haven't timed it, but I mean 55C with one of the 2 heaters is pretty good. I think if I had the other one in there, I'd be getting up to 60 plus by now, because this has been going for an hour. So, but I mean, the last time I looked at it, it was 53, and that was like I don't know how long. I didn't really time it or anything, but I think that's pretty good in my book. And the nozzle's 270, the bed's 90. So, it generally gets around 40 in there anyway with the bed and nozzle at these temperatures. But 55 to 15 Celsius, that's like 30 Fahrenheit or so, roughly. It's pretty good. That's a pretty big difference. I think I'm going to do the second one, though. I think I am going to. They're small enough that I can fit one on each side without getting in the way of anything. And it's still pumping out heat. And yeah, it's definitely warm in there. I mean, this thing with the aluminum casing and as tight as their fit and finish is pretty good as it is. I mean, they really made this machine well. It's honestly, I can't say enough good things about these printers. They're just really good printers. They really are. There's got to be a ton of research and development that went into these. But anyways, it's working. So that was a very easy modification. And even with the second one, I mean, we're talking about splitting and soldering 120 volt wire. I mean, I could even just put a Wago in there, put one of the little Wago mounts and split it right there. You know, one wire, do a three prong Wagos. Have one going to each heater and one coming in. That's it. I might actually do it that way. That's a lot easier. So that's that. I think I'm going to do the 2 heaters. I'm going to do the 2 heaters, and then I'll order 2 more for the other one. So it's a worthy investment for sure, if you want to make your Bambu Lab printer a little bit higher temperature. I'm eager to really see what kind of difference it'll make with both, and then try like PPS, because I printed PPS in here a while back. I tried to do it for the frankly, I'm a little frustrated because I just built this freaking crazy high temperature printer, and now I made a $40 or $60 modification to the Bambu Labs, and I mean, it's not going to get 500 on the, I can't print the crazy high temperature stuff, but these are great printers. I mean, these things are just really reliable workhorses. Let's see how reliable it is when it's printing at 60C in the chamber, or more when I put the other heater in there. But we'll see how that all goes. I'll let you guys know later.